Okay, so let us start with the new session on Odisha current affairs for the month of April. Okay, today are you prepared to sit for longer session or do you want a break in between? Is it fine if we go ahead in a single go? Okay, we will decide likewise. Okay, because I have planned to cover 2 months today. Because previously why we took a lot of time so that you become acquainted as to how to deal with the topics. Let us say how many irrigation project has been dealt with in our current affairs discussion. How many irrigation projects? Name them. Yeah, Parvati Gift, Giri Mega Irrigation Project. And I have also told you various other projects which have been given a provision in this year's budget. So let us say there will be another irrigation project which will be in news in the upcoming months, whatever month it might be. You have got the basics. You have understood that at least more than 5.3% to be exact. This is the allocation in this year's budget. You have understood everything regarding that irrigation part. Now, if again some irrigation project comes up in our discussion, should we again go for that lengthy discussion? Doesn't make sense. That is why I had to take a lot of time previously so that you become acquainted with the discussion of current affairs. Actually, this is not a current affairs. Once you get acquainted with current affairs, holistically study, the next time when you study, it will not become current affairs, it will become a contemporary affairs because you already have a prerequisite understanding about it. Am I making sense to you? Okay. So regarding today's discussion, okay. Today's discussion will be on for the month of April. So everybody knows what is 1st of April? Janicho samaste? Utkala Divas. Okay. Now, in this very topic, I don't feel a need to make you understand. Rather, I must get some knowledge from you. Tell me some insights about April the 1st. Kuho, kichi to kuho. You start. Apart from it being Utkal Divas, tell me something else. Odisha became a separate state in the year. Let her answer. Then I'll come to next. Okay. In the year 1936. Any other point? It became a separate state. Agro Kode Thila na, it was a part of some other state. Tell me that only. No, it was Bihar. Okay. What else? It was a first linguistic state. Hold on. Check your books. Is this the first topic? Okay. This is for the May month. Okay. So, how dekhi kuwa na? Okay. Now let us start with the timeline. Everybody knows this very date, April the 1st, is Odisha's Utkal Divas as we celebrate. Okay. There is a state anthem to our Utkal Divas, you know. What is the name? Bande Utkala Janani. It is written by? You are correct. Spell. Janicho to? He hails from which district? Fill in the blanks. You should be knowing it. After he has said also, you don't understand. What is the name? Be louder. It has been written by whom? Yes. Lakshmikant Mahapatra. Okay. Now, in this very topic, there is not much to discuss about. If you have studied history, do you remember there was a second Carnatic War? Mane poduchi? It was fought between British versus French. Their companies fought. It was not the national armies which fought. The companies fought. What happened? With the British won and gained position over. Let me take this. Okay. এটা কেবে ହେଇଥିଲା କହିପାରିବ? Second Carnatic War. Second Carnatic War. If you don't participate, we can't finish it quickly. 1848. It was in the year 1803. Okay. Here, acha, what was the treaty, concluding treaty? Mane achi? Treaty of Pondicherry. What happened as a consequence of this? Yes, I'm coming back to it. It is in the year 1803, I guess so. Carnatic War was around 1700 something, right? Okay, let us forget the date. Okay. Now, what happened as a result? The British gained possession over. In which state are you? Here. Odisha. Odisha thila ki setabele state? No. कौन थिला? Northern Sarkars. मने पड़ुची? एमती चल लगे. This remained the status quo until this year, 1803. कौन ही थिला? Second Anglo-Maratha War. मने पड़ुची? Write down the flow of the events. As a result, what happened? The Marathas gained possession over the belt of Puri to Cuttack. Previously, it was about Northern Sarkars. Right now, they gained a position over Puri to Cuttack, and this was in the year 1803. Okay, write down. I'm telling you, write it down. Next, write down. For next 100, I'm telling you, just listen to it. For the next 100 years, it remained the status quo. That means in the year 1903, something drastic could have happened. What happened? In 1903, Utkala Sammilani was founded, which fought for what? Actually, a separate statehood for the very first time. It started the fight for the separate statehood. Of who? Of the people who were Odia speakers, of native Odia speakers. So write down that. Write down. In the year 1903, Utkala Sammilani was founded. to demand the unification of ODI speakers? एति क्लियर अछि ना? In 1903 उत्कल सम्मेलनी was founded, which fought for unification of ODI speakers. That means by this time the ODI people understood that no state is ours. अछि ना नहीं? Like the Jews understood that they should have their own country back in the day, sometime in the history. That is why there was a demand for a separate Jewish nation, which later came on to become Israel, erstwhile Palestine. Getting it? We are not getting into that. Who founded this? Madhusudan. What is his title? कौन कहते तंको? What is his title? What is the title conferred to him? उत्कल गौरव. ना? At least संगे संगे रिवाइज तो है जाओ. Okay. And obviously next what happened? On 1st April एटा भी लिखा 1912 किछ गोटे हला कोन हला राइट डाउन 1st April 1912 Bihar and Odisha were formed. Bihar and Odisha were formed, not separately. Getting it? Bihar and Odisha remained one. And that is why 1936 रा अलग है ना. Getting it? You are getting the sequence of events. So you have to remember this chain of events. Okay. 1912 रे कौन हला? Bihar and Odisha were formed. And obviously in 1936, Odisha as a separate state on the linguistic basis was formed. Who was the first governor of that state? First governor of Odisha before what? Independence. किए थिले? Sir the moment I wrote sir, you understood it cannot be an Indian. Isn't it? I think it is all about Utkala Divas. 1936 plus 100 gives you 2036, which is minus karo 12 years from now, isn't it? That is why the Odisha state government has a strategic vision called Vikasit Odisha for Vikasit कौन ही पर है? This is the strategic vision and we are working upon this. Okay. Oh, can we jump to the second theme? किसी कही दिया विषय में? Have I dealt with it? The people who are regular in the class, they only have to say. Have I dealt with Gahir Matha? Yes, I have. If you don't remember. Why? When I was dealing with Bhitarganika National Park, I dealt with Gahirmatha. Now go through why it is in news. Quickly traverse through it. Now this Gahirmatha. Firstly, you must understand where is this location. Koudi अछि kuh शीघ्र. Which district of Odisha? Kendrapada. Where ହେଇଗଲା ନା? ଏଠି କ'ଣ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି? Why in news? Where? Kendrapada. Why it is so important? Gahirmatha. Because of largest nesting beach of है ना? Olive ridley turtle ता विषय में डिस्कस करि सरचंदी. IUCN status was vulnerable. Okay. ये जो लिखुचंदी nesting beach, there is some peculiar information about it also. There is a particular island on the Gahirmatha beach where they usually nest. You can write down the name. The name is Nasi 1 and Nasi 2. These are the names of the two islands where specifically they lay their eggs. Another very good information is this. It is the only marine wildlife sanctuary of Odisha. It is the only marine wildlife sanctuary of Odisha. We are not talking about India. Can you name some wildlife sanctuary which is marine in nature in India? A few of them. Gulf of Mannar. Achha, when you said Gulf of Mannar, which is one species which is very, very famous in Gulf of Mannar? You can say it's a keystone species of Gulf of Mannar. Exactly, dugong. Is it herbivorous or carnivorous? It's herbivorous. It is also called sea cow. Similarly, you have many other marine wildlife sanctuaries. Okay. Another piece of information you can understand, this is more or less a pelagic species. You know what is a pelagic species? Have you seen the profile of a sea, of an ocean? The central part where this is the water level. Okay. The central part, which is very deep and mostly light does not penetrate after a certain point of time, beyond the photic zone, this is called the pelagic zone. You know that? And mostly these turtles spend their life in the pelagic region. So if in the examination you are getting this kind of statement that olive ridley turtles are more or less a pelagic species, then you have to take it to be correct. Getting it? So this is the additional piece of information you must have. Okay, এটা লিখি দিও তুমি. For your understanding, I'll give you a very small picture. देखो, this is Kendrapada. Okay, এটা হলা Kendrapada. বুঝুছো? এই Kendrapada ভিতরে, this is, let's say, Bhitarganika National Park. বুঝি হଉଛି? Within the Bhitarganika National Park, you have Gahirmatha Wildlife Sanctuary. You are getting it? This wildlife sanctuary, Gahirmatha Wildlife Sanctuary, is a part of Bhitarganika National Park. Both are situated in Kendrapada. So you just don't get confused. Both are not separate. It is situated inside that national park. Getting it? And in between here somewhere, देखो, quite typically, what is this beach called? No, we will get to this beach again. Okay, there is a beach there also. Can it be Rushikulia beach? No. Think about it. some other piece of information, write down. In the Bhitarkanika National Park, if you are asked what are the rivers which inundate or drain into Bhitarkanika National Park, or for that matter in Kendrapada, you note down the list of rivers. What rivers can be found there? It is quite certain कि it is a confluence of Brahmani and Baitarani. We have the confluence of these two major rivers. Apart from that, Devi River, ଶୁଣିଥିବ ତମେ, Devi River. Another river, Dhamara. One more river is Panthashala. Another piece of information. Purna information, but as freshers you must know. Have you heard of this term? Yes. Arivada is the nesting site of what? Olive Ridley turtles. Write it down. What is this? Let us go to the third theme. Kohila, Sigra, what is this? Actually, this is Barunai Jatra, isn't it? In these kind of themes, first question is where? This is the most important question here. Understand, in these kind of themes, in this kind of current affairs, the most important question, if you want to ask to yourself, is where? Kouthi hue eta. Odisha ko even answer. The answer is not Odisha. The answer is which district in Odisha. Do you know that? देखो लिखा है जी केहुझर. And if you know, it is situated in Kehujar and specifically at Gonasika, and this is an origin of a very major river in Odisha, which is Baitarani. Why Gonasika? It resembles like a cow's nose. From where it originates? Quickly traverse through what has been written there. Quickly go through it. See, it starts at Gonasika Kehujar. It is a 3-day long mela. I don't think it is so important for you. Thousands of devotees flock. Chada. जो बुड़ पकाउछन्ती ताकू कहते महाबरुणेई बुड़. Okay, to who? The point is Brahmeshwara Mahadev. This is the important thing. Underline करो ताकू Brahmeshwara Mahadev. कहेंगे, I have told you in Kehujar there is a particular PVTG. PVTG answer particularly vulnerable travel groups. How many of them are there in our state? 13 out of 75. Out of them, there is one tribal which is known as Juang. Okay, these Juang's primary deity is Brahmeshwara Mahadev, and they are predominantly occupying the space of Kehujar. Which tribe? Juang. Getting it? Now I'll ask you a question which is a kind of revision. Now tell me, I had told you there were 6 PVTGs which received habitat rights. Are they one of them or not? Go back and see if you don't remember. Jao pachaku dekho. Yes? Okay. I want to see how many of you say yes. Yes. Technically not yes. Yes. They are among those 4 tribes which DLC have approved. Right now they have not received the habitat rights, but soon enough they will be getting it. So as a matter of fact, as a matter of general discussion, it is one of those tribes which have received the habitat rights. Getting it? Ye, Juang. Juang of Keonjhar, not Juang of say of let's say any other place. Exactly, that is what I want to say. It is about a habitat, about a niche. There has to be a certain demarcated place for that, isn't it? So Juang of Keonjhar, right now, currently they have been approved by DLCs for their habitat rights under which act? Forest Rights Act 2006. है ना? Okay, if I talk about Juang, do you know some kind of information? What kind of linguistic family they belong to? They belong to Munda family. Munda family of Austroasiatic group. Do you know the literal meaning of Munda? Of Juang? I'm sorry. Juang's literal meaning is man. Yes, man, M-A-N. Moreover, these Juangs are supposed to be the first human beings on earth. They are supposed to be. Some epic says Juang is supposed to be the first man on earth. Getting it? And they have retained their genetic uniqueness. Of course, that is why they maintain to be the first man on earth. है ना? And we have been intermingled genetic diversity as well. है ना? Okay. This is all about this news. Go to the next one. 700-year-old inscription. देखो कोठी अच्छी. I told you in this kind of news, first things first. Who, where, कोठी अच्छी देखो. खोर्धा. Underline करी चलो कोड़े गला. खोर्धा. How many years old? 700 years old. That means it is around 13th and 14th century. Okay. Some will cut across some very valid discussion we had done in the previous classes. Second, the inscription is found in the Panchamahadev temple. Where? In Tangi. Where is Tangi? Tangi is also in Khordha. You people know Tangi, present in Cuttack district, but it is also in Khordha. It is around 65 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. Okay. Second thing, it is identified as the Proto-Odia script. Are Proto-Odia kaun? What is Proto-Odia? One thing is Odia. You know what is Odia? The Odia you speak is the Odia we are talking about. Previous to that, there was a script called Proto-Odia. And before Proto-Odia, there will be Pre-Odia. Civilization पढ़ी तो history, proto-history and pre-history. पढ़ी ना नहीं? Similarly, Odia पूर्वरु Proto-Odia. That means it was on the verge of development. It has not been completely developed. At that point of time, a inscription ta semane लिखी which dynasty? Eastern Ganga dynasty, and the king is Bhanudev III. And very interestingly, this king belongs to Potangi village. Potangi कोडी हमें पढ़थिले. Exactly. Border dispute, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. Where was it? In Koraput district. Potangi was the block. मने पढ़छि ना नहीं. And it was overlapping with Salur of Andhra. देखो लिखा है ना नहीं. In which district? Srikakulam district. ये तो लिखा है जी. Now getting it? Now when you see Potangi anywhere in the news, it should strike you. First thing, it is a disputed territory. Many more dispute will come in the class again. I'll tell you. When the time comes, I'll tell you. But whenever you see Salur, Srikakulam district, even Araku Lok Sabha seat, मुझे कौन सी मन रखियो अराकू लोकसभा सीट अराकू सुनिछ तो अराकू वैली इन आंध्रा okay these places come under the Lok Sabha seat of Araku बुझियो जी and the Koraput Potangi block those 21 villages if you remember मने पड़छि सब go to the next one don't take these kind of questions very seriously Chaiti festival and all. This is It is a very lengthy festival celebrated where? Again in Keonjhar. Why Keonjhar is in news? Always. Because our chief minister hails from Keonjhar. Chaiti festival is devoted to Ma Tarini of Ghataka. You all know that. This is the actually the main deity is attached with golden ornaments on that day. On the inaugural day, the deity has been attached with golden ornaments. Acha. Now tell me, Ma Tarini temple style of architecture kono? Guess will not work. Guess will not work. If I have asked you what kind of architecture is there in Ma Tarini temple, then you must imagine. I think most of you have gone there. Imagine the temple. What kind of architecture do you think? Is it a typical North Indian one, or a typical South Indian one, or the mix of two, or a separate one? Bhabi ki kuo? Separate. Don't get confused, it is Kalinga style of architecture. Okay. I told you, na, imagine the temple. Didn't you find a Jagomohan, Rekha Deola? You find everything there. And it has to be Kalinga style of architecture. Vimana paijana nahi, Vimana. Okay. Who made this temple? It was in the year 1480. Here. By the ruler of Keonjhar, whose name was, write down, Sri Govind Bhanjadeva. Govind Bhanjadeva. He was not the king, he was the ruler. He was the appointed ruler, actually. The king was someone else. Okay? He was just the appointed ruler. But you don't need to go to that history. It is not that important. But as a matter of fact, in Odisha history part, there can be a question. Tarini Mandir kebe bani thile? In the year 1480. Have you completed it? Odisha history. Done? Anyhow. Now let's come to our very favorite Lingaraj temple. The first things first, go through it. Why is it in news? Dekho. Do you know all these temples are getting demolished by the day? It is getting dilapidated. Why? Majorly due to acid rain. Isn't it? Due to severe climate change and primary as well as secondary pollutant released by us by the anthropogenic activities, isn't it? That is why they are getting dilapidated by the time. That is why the ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, they have been entrusted to supervise over the conditions of these historical monuments, which is not only of spiritual importance but also of religious importance. Getting it? Now go through it quickly. Why is it in news? Dekho, kaun lekhu? That is all you must know. And related to that, there is one scheme of central government, you know, Hridaya scheme. I think Lingaraj Mandir is provided in phase 2. If I'm not so sure about it, but the development of Lingaraj Mandir is under phase 2 of Hridaya scheme. For the previous one, the Chaiti one, for the Tarni Mandir development and revamp, around 50 crores have been provided by the state government this year's budget. So if you want, just write down. Otherwise, just have a sense of understanding that the state is projecting its importance over Tarni temple also. It is just not about Parikrama Prakalpa or Ma Samalai temple for that matter. Getting it? They are also developing different other temples of religious and historic importance. Now coming back to Lingaraj temple, do you know what cult is followed in Lingaraj temple? Is it a Vaishnavite cult or a Shaivite cult? No, you are absolutely wrong. Most of us think that it's a Shaivite cult because we revere Lord Shiva there, but the cult is known as the Harihara cult. Hari stands for Lord Vishnu and Hara stands for Lord Shiva. So it is a syncretism of Vaishnavism and Shaivism in our state. Getting the point? Budhi hoji? One more important feature is the deity is Swayambhu. What is Swayambhu? The deity, the Shivling is self-evolving. Self-evolving. Janithilo? The temple was made by King Jajati Keshari. Ethi Jajati 1 lekhichi, to me Jajati Keshari lekhini asethi. Jajati Keshari. You know that? Features, of course, of Kalinga style of architecture. That means they must have 3 to 4 features quite specifically. Kon feature thiba darkar? One is sanctum sanctorium. Seta to nihati thiba darkar na? Okay. What next? Bhoga mandapa. Bhoga mandapa stands for the hall of offering. The next is Natya mandapa. That means the hall of dance. The hall of performance, you can say that, not only dances. Then Jagomahana, the assembly hall, and the Vimana. Getting it? So these kind of features, if you find in any kind of temple together, together. If you don't find it together, it cannot be Kalinga style of architecture. Because any kind of architecture cannot single-handedly stand in isolation. It has to be influenced from some form. Like the Kalinga form, the Kalinga style of architecture is influenced from other forms. Koko form ru niya hai, mostly of Nagara style, but it is also influenced by some kind of Dravida style of architecture also. And Vesara architecture is a mix of both of them. Budhi hoji na nahi? So it cannot stand in isolation. You have to ideally understand what kind of feature is typical to one kind of architecture. Getting it? Yes, Panchayatan style is one very, very typical feature of it. Thik hoji, when you go to different temples, you just make a point to yourself that apart from our religious inclination, I will go there and understand the architecture at least for 5 minutes. You try to understand that. Have you gone to South India and seen their temples? Have you gone to South India? No. If you go to South India and see the temples, they are huge structures, huge. I can't put more stress on superlative action. It is so huge, monumental. You know why? Because the temples which they used to develop back in the day, it was not only a symbol of the king's power, but it also had socio-economic life also. At the time of war or something, people used to seek refuge inside the temple premises. That is why you can see huge halls. Even, what do you say, that open spaces within the premises of a temple, that is also huge. If you see the Vimana, that is also huge. Getting it? So building temples, it is not just for the sake of building it, or it is not just for the sake of religious importance. Right now, you have different spaces for different things. Let us say you have rented out a single 1 BHK flat and you just have a toilet attached to it. You have to cook there, you have to eat there, you have to sleep also there. And let's say you have to go for a congregation of friends also in the same place. Why you are doing that? Because you don't have an option. Right now, we understand this place is suitable for study. That is why I am a person who is disseminating information to you and you are sitting there to avail it. back in the day there was no such system. का घरे स्पेस थिले तांको घरे पाठ पढ़ा हेउथला. So you must understand the socio-economic dynamics of a temple. देखो, there was a concept, तमे लेखि था कोठी फ्री टाइम रे केते बेले पढ़िबो या विषय रे. ताको कहंती सैक्रेड कॉम्प्लेक्स. कौन कहंती sacred complex. There are two case studies of sacred complex. One is of Kashi. Kashi कोठी अछि? Kashi, Banaras. And the second case study is about the sacred complex of Gaya. Gaya कोठी अछि? In your free time, एटा को पढ़िबो केबे. Doesn't matter if you can't understand everything. Doesn't matter. You just make a point to yourself that I'll study these two case studies. Setu tame janibo how temples were of multi-dimensional impact in the past. Right now, maybe it doesn't fulfill all the socio-economic conditions, but in the past, these sacred complexes of, let's say, one Kashi and second Gaya, they used to fulfill people's aspiration from top to bottom, from day to night, from the month of January to the month of December, from the person's birth to his death, and even beyond death. Beyond death, moksha achi na nahi amara. That also was provided by the temple premises. So, kebe time midle, go for it. Acha, this is present in Bhubaneswar. Eta tum koya bhuli geli. Lingaraj temple. It is present in Bhubaneswar. It is also called Ekamra Kshetra. Is there somebody who doesn't know what is Ekamra Kshetra? Where is it? Janicho, samosta. Heard of it? Ekamra Kshetra? Manne kichi nuho bhai. It is present in Bhubaneswar, and Bhubaneswar spiritually and religiously has been termed as Ekamra Kshetra. Kshetra means area. Ekamra is the name of the place. Yes. It is related to the orchard of mangoes. Right now you can't find it because we have commercialized ourselves. Ekamra Kshetra. So this is the place where once upon a time there was mango orchards. So it has been designated. Au kichi kshetra kuhanti Odisha ra अन्य नाम अछि किछि? Sri Kshetra. Now you may ask, what is Sri Kshetra? Why the term Sri? Sri connotes to the reverence of God, of deities. That is the thing. Arka Kshetra. Arka is the offering of water to the sun god. Dekho, next. Bishuva Sankranti. Actually, this is Pana Sankranti, if you know. It is celebrated in the month of April, the 13th of April this year, na? I think it was in 13th of April. 13th of April. What happened in the news? Because the president of this country is from the state of Odisha, they both met together, president as well as the prime minister, and greeted the people of Odisha on the eve of Vishuva Sankranti, also called as Pana Sankranti. This marks the first day of the Odia calendar. It is not the Gregorian calendar. It is the Odia calendar according to solar and lunar months. According to the lunar month, this will be the Vaishakh month. This is all about it. एटा तमे को रुक्कणा रथ यात्रा सुनिच? Heard of it? रुक्कणा रथ यात्रा सुनी ना? Like the Rath Yatra, you know, the chariot festival of Puri, all the three deities, they traverse to the yes, they traverse together on Bodadanda, isn't it? Similarly, on Ashokastami, on the occasion of Ashokastami, Rukkuna Ratha means the chariot takes off from the Lingaraj Mandir to Rameshwara temple. Then again it returns back. It returns after some days. That is what I want to say. Not on the same day. It has to return back after some days. Which three deities are revered there? Chandrasekhar, the representative of Lord Lingaraj. This is one. Second, goddesses Rukmini, and third is Vasudev. And the commonly known chariot festivals, first, Lord Jagannath. Second, goddesses Subhadra. Third is God Balabhadra. बुझिए? What you meant to say is, hello, ma'am, what you meant to say is, it doesn't turn back. The Ratha doesn't turn back, isn't it? But it goes back to the Lingaraj Mandir after some days. What you said is correct, but it doesn't turn back. What I mean by turning back is, it doesn't turn its back to the people. Getting it? If the Ratha is placed like this, the chariot, it doesn't turn its back. There is a specific spiritual understanding behind it. Let's not go ahead with that. Okay. You understood on which day? Ashokastami. Mane rakhiyo. You know why this is important for us? If you go to the main syllabus, in Odisha history, there is a specific portion mentioned that Odisha's festivals is also what you need to study. Okay. So these are some festivals which you come across the year. We are a land of temples, and of course we will be having a lot of festivals. Next, देखो. Now this is one very interesting topic. देखो, look at the board and see why is it in news. देख लो. See, there is a specific village. The village name is Shankhamedi village. Where is it? Which district? Of course, na. Bordering district ही तो ही थी. वो कितना border कर चुकी West Bengal संगरे. Getting it? It is in Baleswar district. Under Analia Panchayat, you just leave it out. What happened there? See, till the year 1992, what happened? If we can start from 1936 when our state became independent, Odisha government used to tax the people of Shankhamedi. They used to pay their land revenue. They used to pay their municipality taxes. To whom? To the state of Odisha. It was till the year 1992. After that, Odisha government stopped taking taxes from them. Because in the year 1990, what happened? West Bengal government included this village Shankhamedi in their map. Once they included this Shankhamedi village in their map, then what happened? Do you understand the whole picture? When they included Shankhamedi village in their map, as the result, in 1992, Odisha government understood that this territory remains disputed. Once it remains disputed, what happens? Odisha government stopped taking land revenue. What direct consequences will it bear? The most direct consequences it bears is it will not provide social security facilities to the people of Shankhamedi. Getting it? Now, what will happen to the residents or citizens who are residing in that village? Now, think of it. This is why they are saying we are celebrating Utkala Divasa on 1st of April. But what will happen to the people who are still searching for their identity? Are they not in an identity crisis? Are they not in an identity crisis? Bhava, the people who are below the poverty line there, don't you want to provide them social security? What will happen to the children if they apply for jobs or higher courses? They will require, the government agencies will require the resident certificates. Now they don't have a residence which two states are fighting upon. Getting my point? Now what will happen to them? So this is the most tragic consequences when you fall on a disputed territory. Unlike the people of Kotia Panchayat, there something else has transpired. What has happened is they are getting help from both the places. Here they are getting help from neither. Bujhiyo ji. So here you can just write down a few points. Tum lekho, no facilities like loans, houses, jobs, no benefits of schemes from Odisha. I am talking about who? The people of Sankhamedi village. And there are 81 such villages. There are 81 such villages which are disputed in Bhograi and, I'll write it down, Bhograi and Jaleshwar. कौन लिख लो? I just can't hear you. Okay, go. Okay, which are disputed in Bhograi and Jaleshwar. Bhograi and Jaleshwar for that matter. Blocks लिखी पारिबो. There are more border disputes. मुझे पर जो आउ border disputes अछि. It is present in the district of Mayurbhanj. There is another border dispute related to illegal sand mining. Bali mafia सुनिछो? Illegal sand mining. So it will be on a river bed. Border रे को river expect करूछो ओडिशा बेंगल border रे? सुबर्ण रेखा. Very good. Okay. So this is beyond the scope of the class, but you must know what are the various border disputes. बुझिला? What was the ultimate verdict of Kotia Panchayat in 2006? Supreme Court किछि गोटे कहिथिला मने पका. कोन कहला? Yes. In 2006, the Supreme Court unanimously declared that these kind of interstate disputes is beyond our jurisdiction and the Parliament must make suitable laws to resolve the dispute. And 18 years have passed. There is no consensus among the stakeholders. Getting the point? So this happens when you do not have a purely federal structure. We have a quasi-federal structure. Okay, let's go to the next one. Dekho. Make it quick this time. Go through it quickly. DG Yatra is an IT initiative. First things first. It's an IT initiative. Why? Airports. Who has boarded flights? See, the first step is you go and show your ticket outside the premises where somebody of the defense personnel, CAPF, they at least verify prima facie. You have to show your Aadhaar there and ticket also. This is the first step. Okay. The second step is check-in kuhanti, check-in. When you go to check-in, they again look at your Aadhaar, verify it manually, and tender you a boarding pass. They tender you a boarding pass. Then you send your luggage. The third step is security check-in. They will have a holistic security checkup. There also you need to show your boarding pass. Finally, when you are prepared for boarding, there might be a condition that you need to again show your boarding pass and your Aadhaar card. Is it not a very lengthy process? To avoid all these process, DG Yatra has been rolled out. Why? It will provide facial recognition so that it will provide what? Automation. It is all manually hotela. These process involved everything manually. Now in this process, what will happen? There will be automated. As a matter of fact, then you will save time in all these things. Once you save time, then you will be on for a seamless journey. Getting it? So itme kon kuhanti ki airport 2 hours purbar pahunchiya kotha. Why? Because of all this stuff. Now you again go through it. Now Bhubaneswar is among those 14 airports which have enabled DG Yatra. The main point here is it has been coordinated by Ministry of Civil Aviation. Okay, and this is a part of Digital India's vision, India's digital vision. If you are digitizing all these stuffs, what will happen? Ultimately, we will be saving time. Getting it? And this is all it has been written. The steps I told you. Got it? So you remember the name DG Yatra. DG Yatra is not a state government's initiative, it is the central government's initiative. Okay? Dekho kon achi. What is the next in news? Should I have to say anything about it? We have dealt with it in so much detail. I don't feel it's again required to be dealt with. Now, eta dekho kon lekhuchi. Now, what is this? They have been asked to vote in Andhra. There was one superb article which had been published in this time. They had written, exactly I don't remember, one voter. How many votes? But here, getting it why? Residents are asked to vote in Andhra Pradesh. By whom? By the representative of Andhra people. Similarly, the Odia's representative, they will also ask them to vote here. As a matter of fact, they will be provided benefits from both the sides. That is what I talked sometime before. Dekho iti. Dekho, this is the first time Andhra has held panchayat polls in any of the villages. Aguru koru nathile, but they have gathered their strength. Right now we can do all these things. Again, the villages participate in assembly and Lok Sabha elections for both states. There is one legislative assembly seat and there is again one Lok Sabha seat. For every person, you have two kinds of votes. Legislative assembly re Lok Sabha re both you can give parliament. That means ye hala MLA vote, this is MP vote. Hala nahi ki? But they will be having two combinations, MLA plus MP again. This is for Andhra and this is for Odisha. So dekho iti. They are registered as voters for Salur, Salur Assembly and Arakku Lok Sabha. Legislative Assembly is Salur, Lok Sabha seat is Arakku. Odisha re Potangi Assembly and Koraput Lok Sabha. One voter, how many votes? 2 votes. Is it practically feasible? But actually they have given 2 votes. They have casted 2 votes, which is a rare peculiarity in our country. एमती हवा कथा थिला कि who provided the deadlock? The Honorable Supreme Court. Had Supreme Court provided a verdict upon this, आज ये परिस्थिति नहीं नथांता. बुझी होची कथा है. Do you want any more insights on Potangi block and all these things? We have dealt with it. बुझी होची. Go to the next one. Election Commission of India. We have again dealt with it in great detail. देखो कौन कुछ. Why is it in news? Go ahead. See, one new term. Vote from home, not work from home. If you are saying that if you have a facility of vote from home, first thing there has to be some constitutional provision because it is a constitutional body or not. The constitutional provision किसी रह जाता है. Write down the constitutional provision. It is mentioned in clause. It माने vote from home. ताकू amend करी की mention कर चंदी. So it is mentioned in clause small a of conduct of election rules. Conduct of election rules 1961. ये जो क्लॉज ए अच्छी स्मॉल ए दिस इज अगेन एन अमेंडमेंट. ऑब्वियसली अमेंडमेंट करी तो भर्ती करिवो ना. सो अमेंडमेंट इज ऑफ रूल नंबर 27 एंड जेहेतु अमेंडमेंट हला इट इज रूल नंबर 27 कैपिटल ए. डू यू ऑल नो कि स्मॉल कोठी यूज करंती कैपिटल कोठी यूज करछन? डू यू ऑल नो दैट? आइडिया अछि. इफ देयर इज एन अमेंडमेंट कैपिटल ए यूज होगा. If you are inserting a clause, small letters will be used. Getting it? Their constitution केतळे खोली के थोड़ा देखियो. Now what is the news all about? There is a provision of vote for whom? For everybody? No. Who are the beneficiaries? Those citizens whose age is greater than 85 years or those people who have disabilities with more than 40% of benchmark disability. What is the current flowing through this wire? You will say 1. Doesn't make sense. You have to say ampere. If there is a disability of 40%, what 40%? 40% of benchmark disability. Getting it? You can write a couple of additional points also. Like a vote from home is a notified class of electors. Is for a notified class of electors. Bracket लिखो a form of postal ballot. A form of postal ballot. Let us say I belong to the state of Gujarat, but at the time of elections I could not be there in Gujarat in my constituency, right? And I am in Bhubaneswar, and it's my what kind of right is to right to vote is what kind of right? It's my constitutional right to vote. I can ask the government to make amendments so that I can vote, because every vote matters, isn't it? Thereby there is a mechanism of postal ballot wherein the people who are deputed for the government works, or for that matter some work which has been designated by the government or which is of utmost importance, they will have their discretion upon it. I can also cast my vote. For that matter, there is a provision of what? Postal ballot. Okay, this is first point. Second, lego, this is the facility by Election Commission of India. Facility by Election Commission of India, ECI lego, to absentee voters, absentee, ABSENTEE, absentee voters, लिख लो, categorized to vote from home, categorized to vote from home. Getting it? कि साइड रे जस्ट मेंशन कर दियो गोटे एडिशनली तुम कौन पढ़िबो एथरे एडिशनल स्टडी लिखो. फर्स्ट इज पोस्टल बैलेट. डिटेल रे पढ़िबो व्हाट इज पोस्टल बैलेट. दिस इज द इलेक्शन ईयर एंड you must expect a question on elections. First is postal ballot. Second, you can write electronically transmitted postal ballot system, ETPBS. Go through it. Huh? Before the exams, please go through all these things. In this year, you must expect a question from elections, being an election year. Huh? We had gone through a great detail from Election Commission of India. Okay, that is why I am going ahead to the next one, Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary. पढ़ी या विषय भी कोठी अच्छी बरगढ़. Very good. Why is it in news right now? Why previously we studied Debrigad? If you remember. Sorry? Swadesh Darshan. Swadesh Darshan 1.0, 2.0, and Debrigad formed one circuit in which category? Go back. लिखी जाओ ना भूलिए जाओ. There was one sector called coastal tourism, but this cannot be coastal tourism. In which category will Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary fall? Adventure? No idea. If you cannot find it now, exam re kemti mane raheba? No. That was what you are saying, destination based, isn't it? Destination based coach. This is the policy. Previously it was GDP centric. Now it has become destination centric. I had told you, if you remember. Previously, if you have allotted some kind of funds, they will invest no matter where they want. Right now, if the destination is very important, they will procure the prescribed amount of funding for that. This is called destination based funding. But I am asking you, what kind of circuit was it? There was various themes. Wildlife circuit. So Debrigad was in wildlife circuit. एमती भूलीगले केमिति हबो? If it was for wildlife circuit, this century is setting an example in ecotourism. You know, in ODISHA, there are various designated places for ecotourism, or you can say eco retreats. eco retreats. Government of Odisha is providing various camping sites, hotels, restaurants, everything is there to showcase our state's diversity in tourism. That's only no eco retreat. Heard of it? Okay. Here, one very important thing in Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary, write down. They have an elusive wild dogs. Elusive. E-L-U. E-L-U-S-I-V-E. Elusive wild dogs. Called dholes. D-H-O-L-E-S. D-H-O-L-E-S. Dholes. There are some wild dogs called dholes found in Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary. When we have come across one species, then what we must know about it? Three things. IUCN status. It is endangered. Write down EN. Second, what we need to know? Wildlife Protection Act, Appendix. Appendix 2, not 1. Schedule is 2. For Wildlife Protection Act, the schedule is 2 and CITES appendix is again 2 for this species. Achha, one more important information regarding Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary. When was it established? Anybody who remembers? In the year 1985. Lekha. In the year 1985. Go to the next one. There is nothing more you need to know about Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay. Achha, recently there was an elephant which was very famous in Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary. I think a month back it passed away due to some kind of disease. So Debrigad is always in news this year. That is why they might ask you a question from that. Next देखो कौन? निरोगशाला. एटा कौन? Very good. Have you gone through the news? देखो प्रथमे news तो देखो. If you don't go through the news, what I'll tell you. There is a health initiative called Nirogशाला. बुझे? And beyond that, it's mentioned it's a CSR activity. That means some techno giant might have been funding for that. And that techno giant's name has also been written UAIL. Lekho, what is UAIL? Utkal Aluminas International Limited. Utkal Aluminas International Limited of Aditya Birla Group. Is it mentioned there? No, it's not mentioned. You must write it down. Of Aditya Birla Group. Getting it? Now tell me what is CSR. Quick. Louder and clear. Tell me the theme, what you understand by CSR. I just don't want to know the numbers from you. Correct. So, what kind of causes? Everybody knows what is a CSR? CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. Okay. That means any company with 3 factors, I'll tell you all the 3 factors. If they have any of the 3 factors, like a certain amount of their turnover, a certain percentage of their profit, if they are earning of that tune, then they are required to spend 2% in eta कौन? Not only social economical as well as ecological or environmental. In all three departments, they can spend their 2% as a part of their responsibility towards the society. Can you tell me, there is one principle of Gandhiji? There is one principle of Gandhiji from which corporate social responsibility has been taken up. कौन कुहंती? Single word answer. वो taking the wealth from the wealthy and distributing it to the poor. कौन कुहंती ताकू? अखिले भूली गला सब. And India is the third country in the world to adopt such practices. You know that? But anyhow, I'll tell you with the time. Achha, regarding this Nirogshala. Nirogshala re, what happens is, if the corporates are required to spend their percentage of profit into some kind of social, economical or environmental cause, then what this corporate UAIL chose? They chose tribal healthcare. Tribal healthcare choose kar, so that the healthcare becomes affordable, it becomes comprehensive and becomes a quality primary healthcare system. Getting the point? Is there something written? अच्छा लिखा है नहीं तो मैं लिखो. Specifically in four villages of Rayagada and Kalahandi. बुझी होगी ना? Four villages of Rayagada and Kalahandi. देखो लिखा है GCD, affordable comprehensive primary healthcare system services, where they will provide in tribal places, specifically where in four villages of Rayagada and Kalahandi. And CSIR, ये जो CSR हमें लिखुचंदी CSR, यार किसी legality अच्छी कि एमिदी we are openly firing. It finds its legality in where everybody knows that Companies Act. Very good. Companies Act of 2013. Getting it? Chalo, let's go to the next one. Be prepared to sit for another half an hour. We'll have to complete two of them. Ahar Yojana. जानिछो सब आहार केंद्र. Why? Primarily for food security. हाँ कि ना? In their document they have mentioned the food they have been providing, it is of around 23 rupees per meal, and they are providing it in, everybody knows that. Very good. Okay, they are providing it in 5 rupees. So is it not a subsidization of food? It's written here, food subsidization program. लिखा है ना नहीं? And the Odisha state has completed 9 successful years on April the 1st, because it was launched in 1st of April 2015. The meal they are providing, तमे चाहिए तो अपने ऊपर केस करि परिबो ना कि फूड सिक्योरिटी मिलुनी. No, you can't, because they are very smart. They have attained ISO certification for that. Okay, they have got ISO certification for that. Only you can do that if you find certain traces of adulteration, and if you can only prove that. You know the Tirupati Laduru, which is going on right now, it is still pending, and the media has become the judge of it. There are media trials rather than court trials. This is the plight of this country. The people try the accused at home and prove them guilty. We try them in WhatsApp universities. So it is the lack of awareness of we the people. Getting it? Somebody accused is not guilty until proven guilty. बुझे? Let's come to this Ahar Kendra. Sorry? What is ISO certification? It is a certification standard provided so that there will be a certain level of quality maintained, and that all because it is a national certification, you can rely upon that. Whenever you go and buy an electrical appliance, don't you see 5-star ratings, 3-star ratings? काहेंगी देखुଛ? Because you rely on some kind of standards, quality standards. Similarly, there is ISO certification. Getting it? It is again related to intellectual property, what you asked the other day. You can mention 1 or 2 points more regarding this. Now tell me one thing. Gote jinso bhabiki dekho. What? Extra amount of? ସେଇଠିକି ଆସୁଥିଲି ମୁଁ. Just wait for a couple of minutes, you will be clear. The next thing I was asking you is, fund to kichi darkar? Is the state government funding from its own exchequer? No. The fund kouthu asuchi? कहि परिबो? These funds are coming from donations. Donations from individuals. Donations from corporates, as well as CSR is providing food security to the people, not a part of CSR's motive. That is precisely the companies are doing. There can be donations, there can be at least 2% of contribution of their profit into these kind of social responsibilities. Now you got it? This is one thing. Now, don't you think it is fulfilling SDG 1 and 2 together? Poverty, hunger, catered together. Don't you think it's a very good policy? But at the same time, it is also a freebie. And it is upon you how you judge the concept of freebies. Getting my point? Let's go to the next one. Again, we have discussed in enormous detail about Bhitarkanika National Park. Okay, we have discussed it earlier. Now you tell me, when was it designated as a national park? Which year? Quick. Bhitarkanika National Park was designated as a national park in which year? 1990. Designated as a national park. What else this is? Is it not a wetland of international importance? That means it can be a Ramsar site. Of course it is. It is a Ramsar site. It is designated as a Ramsar site in the year 2002. Not only for the sake of writing, please remember it. मन रखिबा पई पड़िबो. Write some additional news regarding Bhitarkanika National Park. First point, write down. There was a forest fire in Mahakalapada forest range. लिखी देवी. Mahakalapada forest range of Bhitarkanika National Park. Shortcut लिखो. Next point, write down. Kendrapada administration. You all know Kendrapada re achi. Kendrapada administration launched कौन? स्वीप इनिशिएटिव. स्पेलिंग देखो, W नहीं, SV. and write down the full form. Systematic voters education, systematic voters education and electoral participation. In man, we close the bracket, this is the full form, then close the bracket, we are completing the sentence. Kodu start karthile, Kendrapada administration launched sweep in IN Battighara or Battighara, I don't know how to pronounce, Battighara island under Mahakalapada, write down again, Mahakalapada block to cast votes. बुझियाला कथा है, because this was an election year and you understand Bhitarkanika is a huge wetland. As a matter of fact, it is the second largest wetland in India. If it is such a huge wetland, then it must have some kind of islands, and if there are islands, there are inhabitants on the islands also. Don't you think they are left behind from the mainstream population? बुझियो ना नहीं? If they are left behind, then there has to be voters awareness, because election comes in 5 years, once in 5 years. So that is why there was a flagship program by ECI called sweep to create voters awareness. To create voters awareness and voters education, so that they cast their votes at least. बुझियो जी? तो लिखी दियो स्वीप विषय. It's a flagship program of ECI. ECI माने Election Commission of India for voters education. I think we are done with it. This is the additional information. I don't think it's mentioned here. No. Next, yeah. Do we need to discuss it? Only go through why is it in news. देखो शीघ्र देखो. Only 3 lakh turtles. 3 lakh is only. यदि 3 lakh only होची, ताले what is the optimum number? केते आसीबा कथा? 8 lakhs is the number, expected number. बुझियो जी? Remember the nesting sites? Nasi 1, Nasi 2 islands. Mane rahuchi? Anything else? Rest, whatever it is mentioned, it is for the mains. बुझियो जी? You all remember? Olive Ridley, vulnerable IUCN status, Appendix 1 of sites, Schedule 1 of WPA. ये देखो. Go through it quickly. How many months have we discussed yet? 3, and this is the 4th month, है ना? January, February, March, and this is April. How many skill-oriented programs have you seen? If you remember, Skills on Wheels, ODISHA, केते सारा देखो सर. Don't you think Odisha is gradually becoming a state which is pioneering skill development? बुझियो जी ना नहीं? Because we have such a huge population who are still unemployed. What kind of unemployment we have, you know? Disguised unemployment. Most of us have very good marks, very good degrees, but we are unable to find a suitable job for ourselves. What is the problem? The education and the job. There is no bridge in between. And these skill development programs are fighting to provide suitable bridging courses so that you become employable at the end of the day, and automatically you will be getting jobs. Getting my point? This is the core deficiency in our education system. After we have finished all the course, we don't know what next we should do with it, because there is no syncretism, there is no coordination between what we are studying and what we are destined to do in our jobs. Getting it? That is why they are focusing a lot on skill development programs. Go through the news quickly. देखिलो, skill development authority, what they are doing, they are signing a memorandum of understanding. So there has to be more than 2 stakeholders, at least 2. First stakeholder, World Skill Center. Second, Odisha Development Authority. Third, Misho. Misho is what kind of fabric brand or what something? E-commerce, isn't it? Okay. It's a e-commerce marketplace. Now these 3 stakeholders are doing what? Ultimately, skill development, skill training. This is all we are doing. Now the most important thing. Who is the most who is having the most priority as far as beneficiaries are concerned? Woman, SDG, Odisha's rank out of. Now you understood how everything goes together. Why is there a lot of emphasis on women empowerment, women skilling? बुझियो जी? Adding to that, even I think youth will also be provided, because this is not a women specific scheme. This is a women centric scheme. बुझियो जी? Although they have not mentioned it, so you don't need to mention as it is not a women specific or a centric scheme. It is a scheme which aims to equip at least 10,000 ambitious youth with necessary skills. I told what necessary skills? Bridging skills. Okay. To establish what? 1,000 micro businesses in the state. Getting it? Primarily who? Women. Next. I think already discussed. Hajiriguda. Hajiriguda. Which place? Is it Rayagada? Is it not Rayagada? I think it's Rayagada. And Saura tribals were the key tribals who are experts of making this Khajuriguda. This is an artificial sweetener. Artificial sweetener. है? I think we have discussed it. Mane poduchi? Okay. The next को जाओ. The next you will tell me. I'll not say. Yes, jade palm jaggery, that is called Odia, Khajuriguda in Odia. Gajapati, Rayagada, whatever it is, but it is important that it has attained GI tag. Which tribals are associated? Saura tribals. Okay. Now see, renowned Odia bhajan singer Shantilata Barik. Passes away. Her key works you must remember. These are the key works. Bhaji Bhaji to Nama Chakana. These names you must remember. A few names. And she was a very iconic figure as far as Odisha devotional music was concerned. She was primarily a bhajan singer. All of you know? Heard of her? नहीं सुने ना? This is not important. The 21st one, it's not important. It might be important for other exams, not for this. Oh. Now you know what is autism? Now World Autism Day is celebrated on 2nd of April. your question can be, who designated it? Which agency? It is United Nations General Assembly. It designated it. You know why there is a need to designate certain days? First thing is to provide information regarding that certain disease, that this is a disease which is not curable. Autism is never curable. So one must be aware of the people who are autistic around you. When there are autistic people around you, what can promoting these kind of days incentivizes the care. At least you can provide a secondary care to them. You can manage that disease, if not cure them. Getting it? And recently autism was in news. There is a specific autism syndrome, some autism syndrome, which was always in news previous year. So go through it. The most important thing is General Assembly, United Nations General Assembly in 2007, they declared April the 2nd to be World Autistic Day. Regarding the month of April, a couple of more informations. Write down first. The theme भी देखी दियो यार. Moving from surviving to thriving. The people who are autistic, they were merely surviving, but they need to thrive, right? So is the theme. Okay. Okay, write down a few points which is not mentioned in your book. Okay, first is regarding Paradip Port. Paradip Port. Highest cargo handling capacity in India in the month of April. It's a major achievement. This can be a question. Out of all the ports in India, Paradip Port had the maximum cargo handling capacity. It was followed by guess, Kandla Port, Deen Dayal Port. Kandla Port ro na kono? Deen Dayal Port. Lekho. Deen Dayal Port, Kandla. Kandla is in which state? Correct. Second news lekho. Sambalpur district unveils unique voter mascots. या आगुर गोटे वोटर मैस्कट पढ़ी कौन थिला? मीता दीदी. So Sambalpur district unveils unique voter mascots. If I say voter mascots, there might be more than one. The name of the mascots, write down. One is Voter Dada and second is Voter Nani. Voter Dada and Voter Nani. DADA and Voter Nani. Last one. Padma Shri was conferred to first Gopinath Swai, जोड़ी गोपीनाथ स्वाई लिखिछ ओटा हाइफन दियो, फॉर प्रमोशन ऑफ कृष्ण लीला, फॉर प्रमोशन ऑफ कृष्ण लीला ब्रैकेट रे लिखि दियो गंजाम डिस्ट्रिक्ट. For your understanding, he is more than 80 years old. He is an octogenarian. 80 years old. Second lekha, Binod Kumar Pasayat. How many of you have heard of Binod Kumar Pasayat? Suni na? He is a very famous person. He is a poet, a lyricist. Lekha, poet, lyricist. A playwright. Hails from the district of Sambalpur. Sambalpur लिखी दियो ब्रैकेट रे. थर्ड लिखो भागवत प्रधान. शब्द नृत्य, शब्द नृत्य, नृत्य मीन्स करेक्ट, बरगढ़। नेक्स्ट इज विनोद कुमार महाराणा, इज अ पट्टचित्र पेंटर। भुवनेश्वर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, फोर्थ है। That's all for the month of April. Some 5 or 10 minutes break, or let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Okay. Let's jump to the May. Look at the first theme. अक्षय तृतीया। अक्षय तृतीया जानी छो? Lohri, heard of it? Lohri festival in which state? Pongal, Onam, Akshaya Tritiya. All these festivals, you know, they have a common theme. All of them are harvest festivals. Raja, again a harvest festival. Do you understand why? Why there is a need of harvest festival? Can you say the God you believe in, everybody has to believe in that God? Everybody believes in different gods, in different beliefs. They have their own belief systems. Somebody might have a belief system that I can't believe anybody. I am an atheist, let's say. Even that is being respected in our country. So as a matter of fact, when the economy, when the socio-economic condition, when the socio-economic condition of a certain place, of a certain area is very, very uniform. By uniform, I mean to say, if the society is hunting gathering, most of them are involved in hunting and gathering only. If a society is involved in agriculture, most of them are confined to agriculture only. When you see most of the people are confined to agriculture in a particular society, then don't you believe they must need a break? They must find a way to enjoy. They must find a way to revere the God. जदि जंगल भितर आदिवासी जंगल को पूजा न करिवे तो जंगल को काटी देबे ना, एटलिस्ट तार प्रोटेक्शन बाय तो पूजा दरकार. So they find their God in the trees only. Similarly, the farmers find their God in the soil, mati. And this becomes a common theme for all the farmers across the world, not only in India. It is a common theme across the world. So by celebrating such kind of festivals, we are providing offerings to the one who is providing all of this, to the unseen, to the one who is there but we can't see, one who is omnipresent. By doing all these things, we are kind of controlling the social emotions. Society re, our behavior, the behavior in our society, if there will be no God, our behavior cannot be controlled. The social behavior cannot be controlled. This is one common philosophy in sociology. If you want to control your social behavior, you have to believe in God. You have to believe in something actually. You can't decide your God. So that is why these kind of festivals are always there. And in a state like Odisha, which is primarily agrarian, don't you believe that every year you will be facing seasonal seasonal kind of festivals. That is why you see Akshaya Tritiya. Then you will find Raja, isn't it? I think it's in the month of June or July, around June, है ना? So, and Akshaya Tritiya is in May. बुझी होची चंदन यात्रा कहीं होची जानी तो ठाकुर को बहुत गरम लगता है सही टाइम रे तो चंदन लगेले ठंडा हबो टिके so you understand the emotion, you are personifying the god, getting it, the god, you are mortalizing the god in some way. So this is all about the festivals we are celebrating, and with the festivals we have other things also. We have an opportunity to meet our friends, to socialize. Why? Because all the time in the other time of the year, what are we doing? We are involved so much, we are indulged so much in our occupations that we are not able to provide time to our people. That is why we need to socialize. There is a provision of such festivals. And also, जो ठाकुर को पूजा करछो, माटी को पूजा करछो, तो अक्षय तृतीया अछि, बुझियो जी. So see, again CM Naveen Patnaik, मतलब erstwhile CM, greeted the people on the occasion of Akshaya Tritiya for having good harvest. You know, they provide the first harvest to God, the first produce to God. So practically, if you see who is consuming it, nobody. It is just a matter of social control. So this is about the harvest festivals. So a few important things. Note I think you must be knowing it. The construction of the chariots of Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath starts on this day only. July month, around the month of July we have Rath Yatra, and this is in the month of May. You have got a leverage of how many months? Only 2 months, around 2 months, less than 2 months, around 45 days. You have to build the chariots, and it has to commence from a certain day, and this is commencing from Akshaya Tritiya. Next, Chandan Yatra of Lord Jagannath Puri is observed on this day. Understood? Now, every cultivator's household, this is a very important festival. Now, this festival is gradually fading out, dying out, because most of us are getting corporatized, westernized, urbanized, and modernized. We are doing everything rather than getting Sanskritized. That is why, as a matter of fact, these festivals have just occupied a small part of our memory. Most of us do not know how to celebrate it. Only for current affairs, if you are studying, you know that this is a harvest festival. How many of us actually provide our harvest first cultivated crop to God? Do we offer? No. How many of you are personally doing it? Are we doing it? Because we are not into cultivation, primary cultivation, isn't it? Let's say our family is doing it, our extended family is doing it, but are we witnessing all those things? If you are not doing it, what will happen to the next generation? It will just be a survival of the past. And after a few years, there will be stone inscriptions where it is written, and it will be decided again, it will be deciphered again after, let's say, 700 years. Again, this is Chandan Yatra. You have understood all those things, huh? You know, Bhittara Chandan, Bahara Chandan, different types are allotted. You can't expect so much questions from it. The next topic is Manrega. Jani chahiye abhisare? Manrega is a central sector scheme? No, it's a centrally sponsored scheme. CSS. That means states also need to contribute. Primarily, this is a policy which is providing income. No, it is not providing income. It is providing employment. And you are earning your income when you are provided employment. Bhikko diya jauni. It is providing employment. And when you provide employment, the person will proudly take their own livelihood. So it's a very, very good process. It is such a beautiful scheme. I don't believe there is a better scheme than Manrega since India got independent. It is providing 100 days of what? Guaranteed employment. Guaranteed employment, not guaranteed income. When you get the employment, you will be earning your livelihood yourself. And in case you are not guaranteeing it, you will also have to pay the penalty of 1/4 of the wages. 1/4 of the wages for, I think, 15 days. 15 days, right? 15 days. And beyond 15 days, you have to provide half of the employment rate. Getting it? So the government cannot back out. The beautiful thing is, go through the news. Why is it in news? Is it visible? Such a disgrace. Such a shameful act, actually. Why is it in news? According to reports, the Sarpanch's husband, a Sarpanch's husband, that means the Sarpanch must be a woman if they are straight. The Sarpanch's husband, the son and the daughter have been enrolled as laborers and received wages under job guarantee scheme. Is it not a disgrace? And this is what has been happening in our country. And such beneficiaries, तमे जानी चाहिए को कौन थी ghost beneficiaries. Those beneficiaries who are taking up the government's money, but actually they are not the beneficiaries. They are not working for that. देखो कौन थी ghost beneficiaries. And the most number of ghost beneficiaries in our country till date, you know, which is that scheme? Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The most number of ghost beneficiaries. Check the data. When I studied it last, it was Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana. Right now, you need to check it again. बहुत सारा ghost beneficiary अच्छी. That means if your name is mentioned in PMJAY, your name is mentioned 30 times. And let's say I am trying to enroll my name is not getting enrolled. These three people together, husband, son, daughter, making a beautiful family, they have been enrolled as laborers. Are they really laborers? Are they working? Because it is a guaranteed employment scheme. It's not a guaranteed wage scheme or an income scheme. So Manrega provides guaranteed employment, but they have got guaranteed income. Getting the point? तो तुम्हें कई वैसे वो कोठी लिखा है एठी लिखा है it has been provided in an act of parliament 2005 re, which guarantees the right to work. I want my right to work. Put it apart the income and the wages. Let me work. Once I work, I'll have my employment, I'll have my wages. Getting it? And this is what your philosophy should be. In future, when you will be getting into some kind of service, the first thing is learn the right to work. I think it is not just your right, it is your duty also. If you work, then only demand the wages. Getting it? So under this, the government assures minimum 100 days of unskilled manual work to an adult member of an eligible household. The main objective कौन है देखो, provide employment to religious citizens. से कहीं to provide income? No, it is to provide employment. But what these three people did? Income. So they have denarrated the whole principle of Manrega. And I think there is a case going on there. I just don't remember the name of the case. And you must know कि मनरेगा जेतेबेले as an act pass ହେଇଥିଲା there was one organization which is called Mazdoor Kishan Shakti Sangathan. It was very, very instrumental in constructing this kind of act. And I think this is a pressure group. Is it not a pressure group? It is a pressure group of Punjab, I think. And go through this, and it is a very good story. Once I had gone through it, you go through it. MKSS has backed the making of Manrega. Eligibility criteria mu tumaku kahideli. The next thing is the allowance is 1/4 of the minimum wage for the first 30 days, not 15 days. 30 days. If they are not guaranteeing you guaranteed what? Guaranteed employment. Okay. So you will be provided with an allowance of 1/4. Let's say your wages is 1000 rupees per day. Okay. And they are unable to provide you that. What? Not the rupees. Employment. If they are unable, they kahaku kouchi? The government. The government is unable. Government mane मुख्यमंत्री आसिक तुमको एम्प्लॉयमेंट देबेनी. Yes. Who is designated? The sarpanch. If they are not able, then first 30 days pai they will have to provide you 1000 by 4. That is 250 rupees debe. Tapare half of the following period. Tapare half debe. 1/4 debe etiki time pe, tapare half debe pai badhya hoche. That means 500 rupees. Getting it? Rest everything is important for mains. Significance of Manrega. Challenges and issues pertaining to the implementation of Manrega. These are the things. Now this is one very good news. This is one very good news. Joda sunicho? Where is Joda? Joda is not in Badbil. Joda and Badbil are separate. I think Joda is in Badbil block, and both of them are in Keonjhar district. And Keonjhar is known for mining, intense mining. They have huge mineral resources. So what happens is, I don't know whether I have told you or not, there is a specific concept in economics that called the resource curse. Koichi, have I told you? Now tell me one country from your understanding and information which is very, very mineral rich and yet very poor. Tell me one country of your choice. Venezuela. Okay. Unanimously Venezuela. Any other country? Iran. Iran is not poor by any standards. It's just a myth. When there is a closed economy, you know very less amount of things about them. Understood? You can't predict about North Korea. You can't predict about China. Somalia is mineral rich. Is it not mineral rich? But what is the socio-economic condition? And if you go through the maximum places where it is very, very mineral rich, they are generally poor. Generally saying. Can you identify the reason? What minerals do you find? What resources do you find in the United Kingdom? They bossed the whole world for around 200-300 years. What minerals were there in Portugal and Spain? And they were the rulers before that. Janicho na? The Treaty of Tordesillas. Sunicho? Tordesillas, whatever it is. They divided the world into two parts. And Spain took one of them, Portugal another. Now, can you just identify what happens if there is a very, very mineral rich place Why the place has become so much socio-economically poor? The fact is established. The concept is called resource curse. Where there is a resource, they face the wrath of a curse. See, if you imagine the world some 10,000 years back, we were in a prehistoric time. In the prehistoric time, everybody was alone and like nobody has huge differences. When the differences began to spring up, what happened is a few nations understood, a few countries understood that these minerals can be of utmost importance. Those countries were like Spain, Portugal, after that British and the French, after that phase USA and USSR, after that China. Even China is again colonizing the world. Do you know the China is again colonizing the world? It is a modern form of colonialism. Their concept is called debt trap of African countries. They're generally doing it. So what they have identified, the people around these minerals, they don't know the importance of it. So if these people around the mineral belts, if those people are educated, are getting aware of things, then you cannot exploit them. So what happened is, these colonial masters have always tried to keep these people around the minerals illiterate, uneducated, devoid of any kind of socio-economic conditions, better conditions like health, education. They always try to keep them in a certain condition so that they always fight for survival. Resource. This is what has transpired everywhere in the world, and this is the structural problem. You can't say that Chota Nagpur Plateau is a very, very mineral rich area and the people did not knew it. Some fine day I will become a Shaktiman and go there, I'll change the whole condition. It doesn't form overnight. No. Social transformation is slow, is gradual. Political transformation is quick, can be revolutionary. If you say the women in our state of Odisha, once upon a time 33% reservation was there for the women in Vidhan Sabha. But overnight it was decided that 50% can be provided as a reservation. But on the ground, practically what happened? 50% seat, 50% women occupy collegi. No. So socially it is not a revolution. It will come gradually over a period of time. There has to be transformation. So Joda और Badbil रे कौन सा किसी separate है जीवोगी? In the places like Joda, which is very, very mineral rich, historically the stakeholders have always tried to keep them deprived of many facilities so that they never rise up their ranks. जदि से माने educate है जीवे तो खटिबो किए? Who will become manual laborers? Getting it? If they become aware of their rights, they will apply for patta, title deeds. Then how will the colonial masters, modern day colonial masters, let's say the capitalist masters, how they will extract the benefit out of it? So the own residents of the people of Joda now are forced to migrate. What an unhealthy plight is this? What an inglorious present is this? The people of the very same state are forced to leave the district, which is very, very mineral rich. Why? Because they are deprived of each and every socio-economic condition. So, generally, there are tenders passed for minerals, auction हुए. When there are auctions, the person who is applied for the lowest bidding, he or she, the company gets the tender, and that company directly does not mine. That company employs some kind of contracts. to local contractors. The local contractors will have to finish out the work by hook or crook. For that, who becomes the scapegoat? The laborers. And where you will find cheap laborers? From the people who are staying there. They are confined to camp huts. Camp huts. For many, let's say mining hochi, huh? Let's say it's a very deep mining. Do you expect the miners to come out every day? Even they are working there under the mines. They are staying there. Do you know what kind of condition they are going through? And for a very minimum amount of salary. So I had asked you, once go through it. Eta dekhi diyo. Keonjhar is very mineral rich. And see what is the condition. And if they want to get the work out of them, they need to torture the people who are working as laborers. The people are tortured. They are paid improper salaries. Ultimately, they are forced to migrate. Kichi to awareness asibo na. And mostly they are migrating to places like Chennai, where the workplace condition is far better. Now, buja. What will happen to those people who are facing the double trouble? Getting evicted out of their own place and going to Chennai, which is a separate state, and will be facing the wrath of regionalism there. जाऊं तो जाऊं कहां? They are facing difficulties in survival. ଆମେ बिना एसी रे रही पारना. Look at the plight of climate change. भाव तांकर condition कौन होतबो. So this is the thing. You need to have some kind of empathy for them. You need to have some compassionate attitude towards them. Jodi eta asuni, you will not become a very good civil servant, if at all you become one. Okay. Local lokongro kona achi, what is the thought of the local people? Se kohuchanti Joda contributes around 21,000 crores per annum to Odisha state exchequer. And Odisha state government ko only Joda provides 21,000 crores per annum, per year. Choto mota amount ho ki 21,000 crore for a state whose budget is 2.65 lakh crore. केवल जोड़ा एति provide करुचे. And yearly the district mineral foundation, कहिछि ना गुरु, DMFs, the district mineral foundations, they are extracting in a tune of 1,500 crores from Joda itself. District Mineral Foundation is one of Odisha's own organization which is taxing these companies and extracting around 1,500 crores per year. Now, if Joda is providing so much of revenue to you, why is not the people of Joda getting better services of life? Is it not reasonable? Is it not reasonable? So that is the problem, and they are forced for eviction, forced for migration. Now what you will do is go through the news completely, and that will make sense. I think this is all. Abject poverty has prompted rampant migration. Abject poverty मतलब उससे भी बुरा है नहीं. देख लो कौन अच्छी न्यूज. Sure. What is the news? Please, quick. Green hydrogen plant, green ammonia plant. I think we have discussed green ammonia plant in the previous classes. Who developed green ammonia plant? For that matter. If you remember Acme, the company Acme, it was a joint collaboration with the Odisha state government. In Gopalpur itself, Gopalpur Port City, Industrial Park. Right now, there is some other company, okay, which has committed to establish a green hydrogen plant and a green ammonia plant. Where? At Tata Steel Special Economic Zone. In which place? Gopalpur Industrial Project. Industrial Park. The aim of the project is to facilitate green fuel in the state. Now tell me, what is green ammonia? You told that day what is green ammonia. Now what should be green hydrogen? On the same very principle, tell me. What should be green hydrogen? What was green ammonia? Production of ammonia from those sources which are not, which are renewable in nature, let's say. Now green hydrogen भी तो सेहा होगा ना, production of hydrogen from those sources which are renewable in nature. बुझियो जी? That means production of ammonia, hydrogen, whatever fuel you think about, ता पछरे जो energy खर्च होची, that should not be from conventional sources. It has to be from renewable sources. Then only the color green can be attached to the statement. बुझियो जी? The word ammonia, if you are talking about ammonia, या पूर्व ग्रीन सेतेबेले ही लगे परिबो जेतेबेले the sources, the energy required to produce this ammonia are renewable in nature. And when you are talking about hydrogen, the green केतेबेले होबो? When the sources employed to produce this hydrogen will be renewable in nature. And this is the type of plant they are envisioned to develop, and this will be around 1 million tons per annum. The production कितना है वो 1 million tons per annum. Getting it? It's a huge production. And I think the commissioning of this plant will be around 2026. Check करना भैया को. Yes, that is a separate one. This is a separate one. Getting my point? That is a separate project. This is a separate project. Actually, a company, this is the company. A company who famously called the Hygenco. This is the Hygenco company. जोड़ा ये बनोज. And there was another company called Acme. There was another company called Acme, which was destined to produce green ammonia, what we saw in the previous classes. Okay. So this company Hygenco is destined to establish two state-of-the-art plants known as green hydrogen plant and green ammonia plant. Where? At Gopalpur Industrial Park, in collaboration with Tata Steel Special Economic Zone. Getting it? Of the capacity 1 million ton. Out there लिखी दोची 1 million ton per annum. एमती लिखंती ताकू 1 million ton per annum. Now you tell me what will be the use of this one, this green hydrogen. कौन करिवो? Transportation. It can be used as a fuel. तो कोडी कोडी यूज हे परिवो. Just mention fuel cell electric vehicle, fuel cell EV लिखी परिवो. It can be used in aviation and maritime. It can be used in industries like fertilizers. refineries, shipping. Okay. Do you now understand why is there such focus on green plants? Because we have a mission called National Hydrogen Mission or Green Hydrogen Mission. Yes, Green Hydrogen Mission. NGHM. Write a few points about it. देखो. Ministry of Renewable Energy. It is the nodal agency for implementing what? National Green Hydrogen Mission. What is the scheme implementation agency? এই स्कीम को इम्प्लीमेंट करिया पे को एजेंसी को डेजिग्नेट करा जाई छी. Any idea? National Institute of Solar Energy. This is the scheme implementing agency. ସେଥିରେ ଗୋଟେ important point ଲେଖ about National Green Hydrogen Mission. By 2030, the target is to produce 5 million ton per year. This is one about green hydrogen. Another very important point, write down. Hydrogen Innovation Valley Cluster. Hydrogen Innovation Valley Cluster by Department of Science and Technology. There is another program called SIGHT program, SIGHT. It is also under National Green Hydrogen Mission. So these are some pointers for prelims which is very important. Okay, Green Hydrogen Mission ro target kon achi by 2030 5 million tons of production is required. Now from a single plant there will be around 1 million ton of production, and there is there is not a single plant. एमती बहुत सारा plant अच्छी. I think there is one plant in around Delhi, Gurgaon or Noida, any place near Delhi. It is also having a capacity. There are other plants which are also developing. That means India is slowly and eventually switching its focus from thermal energy to those energy which is renewable in nature. Acha, can we completely dedicate our dependence on renewable energy? It is again not possible. We have to keep our dependence on thermal energy. That is why you see there is again an arrangement of lignite thermal power in our state. Dekhilo na? In the previous classes I told you, Neyveli mines, Neyveli thermal for lignite thermal power capacity. 800 out of 2400 was the Odisha's share, if you remember. Mone purchi na nahi? The next one. देखो कहीं की न्यूज़ रे अछि. It is not that important for prelims, but I will tell you something which is important for prelims. देखो, the news कौन अछि that Rourkela police are starting a help desk for what? For misuse of social media. You better know how social media can be misused. The recent plight of Bhadrak. You know what has happened in Bhadrak some 6 days before? Don't know? What happened? It is due to a social media post which triggered violence, a communal violence, isn't it? So a single post can trigger a violence. That is why it is very important to regulate the social media norms. Which is the act in India which regulates social media norms? जानिछो? तब कौन थी IT Act of 2000. There was a famous case of SRIAS versus Union of Delhi in the year 2015, I guess so. And time to time it is getting amended, and in 2023, the latest amendment of IT Act, the latest amendment was in 2023, and it gave IT rules, out of which a few important pointers I'll tell you, write down, which can be a possible question. Okay, lekha, no approval of harmful online games. Second, write down, there will be a provision of FCU, fact checking units. Do you know every post in PIB तो जानी थी वो समझते, PIB रे जितनी की पोस्ट अच्छी, every post is FCU scrutinized, fact checking unit ru scrutinized हुए. Even PIB again scrutinizes different posts in India. You know, the specifically fact checking units are not specified. There are certain agencies which are designated to work as FCUs. Okay, these are certain provisions of IT rules 2023. I would recommend किछिटा पढ़ दियो या विषय पढ़ दे कि जीवो एग्जाम को, just mention it to be important. Okay, what are the concerns these days regarding social media? Huge concerns. Okay, one more thing which is very important here, mention already, no definition of fake news. Fake news still not defined. There was always a demand na ki fake news kaun, please define. Even though they presented an amendment, they did not specify the definition of fake news, still did not. So the concerns, ebe jo bhi concerns achi, you must address that in mains examination. But for that matter, these days a huge concern is about the deep fake. The artificial intelligence program they are designing is to reconstruct a person in some other profile which is not accepted by the person, and there are cases established there also. बुझी पारल. आ गोटे जिनस कौन करिवो, NCRB सुनिछ, NCRB, yes, NCRB रो गोटे रिपोर्ट हुए, रिपोर्ट आसे ता ना कोन, I think National Crime Report or something. Okay, you find this report, find the latest report. In major places, find India and Odisha's rank. You should do it. Let's say in cyber cases. In cyber cases, what is the rank of Odisha? What is the rank of India? Let's say in rape cases registration, what is the rank of Odisha and what is the rank of India? Do go through it. I think there can be a question. Okay. So this was all about social media. Rather, social media, you must deal with it in mains. Go through the news quickly. Which principle is enshrined by CSR of Gandhiji? Gandhiji इंगरो को principle कही थी ना? Trusteeship. I told you what is CSR. Now, why is it in news is the Rourkela steel plant, RSP is a corporate. It must have a social responsibility. So, what social responsibility it is doing? 30 poor and underdeprived local youths drawn from villages to undergo skill development training at CPET. Is it not a social responsibility to provide skill? Do you see the importance of skill in our state? it is not the basic requirement that people are not at all educated. Yes, people are educated, but they are not educated to an optimum level to attain jobs. That is why there is a need of skill bridging. If you write these kind of terms in your exams, you will be getting better marks. Skill bridging, ghost beneficiaries. It shows that you know the things. You are not firing in thin air. Getting it? So this is the CSR objective. This was in news. I'll tell you a couple more CSR objectives in Odisha. If you want, you can write it down. Lekha. Vedanta is a company operating in Odisha. Vedanta. Achhi na nahi? What CSR they are doing? Skill training program. Dekha outre skill aisi gala. Skill training program with NABARD. Kouti at Lanjigad. At Lanjigad. Second, Jindal Steel and Power. Jindal Steel and Power. What is the CSIR objective? Sports hostel in Keonjhar. Although it's a huge thing, I'm just giving you a theme of what they are trying to do. Third, Mahanadi Cold Fields. Is it not a corporate? They are undertaking welfare activities in hinterlands. Hinterland bujuja, in the very, very interior of this country, of the state, for that matter. Now, if you have written it, listen to me. Now, these 3 points you have written, what is the CSIR initiative? Now, the prelims is gone, let's say. And you have qualified it. How can you use it? Where you can use it? Which GS paper? GS2? No, GS3. In GS4 also. In ethics paper, you can use your CSR. Now, it is upon you how you use it judiciously. Getting it? So, there are broad provisions mentioned here. What you told? Net worth should be 500 crores or more. Turnover of around 1000 crore or more. Net profit 5 crore or more. So, these people are eligible for CSIR. And as per the Companies Amendment Act 2019, CSR is applicable to companies before completion of 3 financial years. This is a part of economy. Economy class hoji tamara se thik hoya jibo. But buji jawada CSR ro gote amendment heithila in the year 2019. What the amendment says is CSR can be applicable to those corporates even before completion of 3 years. Okay. अच्छा मते गोटे कथा कह CSR ठारू जो पैसा मिलूची it goes to which fund of India? Consolidated fund, contingency fund, public accounts. I'm not concerned with the answer. I have given you a brainstorming question. Bhaba. Dekho, pick. There is one issue with CSR. It's a very alarming issue. It is called greenwashing. Lekhi diyo, kodi mention kar diyo. Greenwashing. Greenwashing. Lekhi do, dekho. Greenwashing seems to be a positive thing or a negative one. It's a negative thing. Go through greenwashing. And it's a drawback of CSR. Actually, not a drawback of CSR. Actually, it needs reforms. If you make the policy in that way, greenwashing is not possible. Right now, it is possible because of the legal loopholes present. Now see about Indian schemer. Indian schemer, you know what is it? It's a bird. It's a bird. Some useful information: 20% of the Indian schemer population is found near river Chambal. It is also seen in Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary. Kouti achi? In Kakinada. It is also found in Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary. Koringa. Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary in Kakinada. It is also found there. But why was it in news right now? Because near Athagad, on the banks of river Mahanadi, they were seen. Around 165 had been recorded this season. Now, when we saw another species, what we should do? IUCN status देखिबा कोन? देखलो कोन अछि? IUCN status is mention करो सेटा. IUCN status is endangered. What about Wildlife Protection Act? It is in schedule 1 or 2. Not clear. So find out. Google karibo, find it out. Sites, it is not listed there. Find out WPA kon achi. Okay. Next. How many of you have heard NGT for the very first time? Everybody knows about NGT, at least a little bit. Do you know the difference between a court and a tribunal? Yes. Anybody else? Any difference you know about courts and tribunals? Mention karo, courts versus tribunals. Padhibo. Is tribunal a completely judicial body? And is court a completely judicial body? ऐसे वाला difference. Correct. That means first you must know the structure. I think it's mentioned there. The structure, the tribunal comprises of the chairman, the judicial members and the expert members. And they shall hold office up to for a term of how many years? 3 years. Maximum 65 years. There can be at least 10 members. At least 10 and a maximum kete? 20. NGT पढ़ी की जीवो exam पे. NGT is very important. It always remains in news. I think previously also they might have asked you a question on NGT. NGT is very, very important. Acha, go to the next page, go to the last one of this page where it is mentioned in the same theme, in the same current affairs. Go to the very last. The NGT deals with civil cases under 7 laws related to environment, and these include, what are the laws? Go through them. What are the laws? Dekho. You don't have it? Okay. Gone through it? Any major law which is missing out? एमती कौन सी मेजर लॉ अच्छी जोड़ा सातटा भितर आसुनी देख लो. If there is an infringement, listen to me. मोड़ को देखो समझते. If there is an infringement in Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, will the NGT intervene? This can be a question. Exam रे एमिति क्वेश्चन आसी पारे. I think आसीछि मध्य. If there is an infringement in Wildlife Protection Act, does the National Green Tribunal has the authority to prosecute it? Yes or no? आसीजिव गोटे स्टेटमेंट कौन कर the answer is yes or no. If there is an infringement in FRA 2006, it's an umbrella act, it's a huge act. NGT करि परिबो कि जदि मेंस रे क्वेश्चन आसले NGT ऊपर तुम लिखि परिबोनी. It's a loophole. If you are providing a quasi judicial power to NGT, then why major schemes like FRA and WPA is not under the ambit of it? You are excluding it. That means the law becomes very vague. बुझी हो जो कथा है. So you must understand that. And NGT केबे फॉर्म ହେଇଥିଲା? 2010. Correct. अच्छा देखो तो why was it in news? Not only about NGT. Why is it in news? The block which is mentioned was very much in news during the elections. Barchana block. Because of the candidate. The NGT has issued a notice to Maha Cement Company over a case filed before it alleging establishment of a cement grinding unit on the forest land. देखो एटा कौन लिखा है जी? Boiri village under Barchana block in Jajpur district. FRA, does it come under the ambit of NGT? No. Oh. एटा तो आसुची. एटा तो आसुची. EPA आसुची. So they will find a way to prosecute. Getting it? It's about legal loopholes. They will always find a way. And it is upon the defendant to defend themselves, and they will also find a way. And when both of them find a way, this will keep on lingering. And justice delayed it. Justice, that is what happens in India. Getting it? From a case study you understood. Next. See again the crime rate is, it is about the crime related thing in Odisha. So again I told you NCRB data, it becomes very important. I think in the year 2023 they have established that report. You go in very detail. Okay, I think there can be a question. And Odisha was in news, was topping some list there. I don't exactly remember. You go through the NCRB data. Right now, in front of us, Odisha cybercrime arrests 4 cyber fraudsters from Gujarat. कौन ही करथिबे? Some money extraction, phishing, and things like that. Just देखो कौन अछि. Charges of duping a person from Bhubaneswar, 60 lakh rupees to online trading scam. And this is happening very common in Bhubaneswar right now. Bhubaneswar and Cuttack, it is getting very common. Getting? So these are about the cyber crimes. I told you the law is very vague regarding the social media and cyber laws in India. That is why prosecuting somebody under a particular crime mentioned under cyber crime, it is very difficult. Why? Because the laws are not very clear. They are very vague. So for that matter, government measures you can write down the way forward when you write it for mains, that the laws has to be very clear and precise so as to prosecute. And rather than policing, it is very important for moral policing. You can order a police to arrest somebody, but how many of them can they arrest if there is no moral policing in our society? Getting it? Social and moral policing is much more important. These kind of crimes are just not a matter of a temporary kind of crime. No, it has become over a period because of lack of socialization of children. The children are not getting socialized. They are not understanding the family and societal ethos, and they are thereby indulging in these kind of affairs. Getting it? What is FPO? FPO is Farmer Produce Organization. So in the previous theme, you must remember what all laws comes under the ambit of NGT. एकदम रोट लर्न, एकदम याद कर लेना है उसको. Okay. One data I remember about NCRB, they say around 3.8 or 3.8% of total crimes in India are in Odisha. Total crimes rate 3.8% share is from Odisha. Getting it? देखो what is there in news? First things first, what is an FPO? जानिछो what is FPO? You? Organization of farmers. Good enough, but not complete. You know. If you imagine what is the problem of farmers, starting from the input to the output. Input माने कौन कौन है पर? The seeds, fertilizers, insurance, credits, loans. आउ कौन है पर? No, that is not the input factors. That is in the output factors. You are talking about storage, transportation and distribution. In all these things, if you see, there are major loopholes. FPO are made to plug these loopholes in every sector. That means a cluster of farmers, they come together. Along with that, they will have some expert committees. Along with that, they will have some corporates helping them out, some pressure groups. ये समस्त मिसे कि they will be having a FPO. Cooperative societies, ये समस्त मिसे कि FPO बनाती. Primarily कौन? To boost agricultural productivity and at the end of the day, making agriculture a lucrative source of income. This is the broad principle of that. Getting my point? So, what are the things? It provides support to small farmers from end-to-end services. बुझिपारलो what is end-to-end services? From inputs, from the plate you consume. Getting it? जो jam खाओ, जो bread लगे की jam खाओ जो. What is the first process of that jam? From where does it originate? भाबू जो. Let's say it is from a fruit. That means it has to be from some fields, some horticultural fields. Set to start then it will go to upstreaming and downstreaming requirements of food processing industries. तापर ये सब packaging है कि it comes to your table. Then you open that packaging and spread it over a slice of bread and consume it. Why could you consume it easily? Because it is easily available to you. It can be stored easily. It can be preserved easily. Getting it? So all these things, joti problem this is taken care by FPOs. Each and every point they are providing their services. So here what is there in news? See, what happened is majorly our state is not very good at exporting horticultural produce. Vegetables, fruits, flowers, not very good at that. So there must be a structural loophole. एमती तो नहीं कि we don't have agrarian societies or good agrarian climates. For that matter, we have 10 agroclimatic zones in Odisha. That means we must have a very good source of what? Revenue from horticulture also. But the point is why it is not getting exported. So the structural problems are catered by the FPOs. When these FPOs catered for all these problems, they plugged these loopholes. Then what happened is the state have made their first foray into the global markets with their first commercial shipment of fresh mangoes and vegetables. Getting it? They might be either getting good cold storage facilities. They are getting good quality seeds so that the produce does not get rotten quickly. बुझी पारछु दे आर pest related resilients, getting my point. So this is the thing. So FPOs रो काम कोन बुझियो तमे so अच्छा regarding FPOs in Odisha, write a couple of things. Who can be FPOs in Odisha? है ना? They can be cooperatives, they can be self-help groups, they can be federations, they can be corporations. And FPOs are regulated by, अरे कोई कानून होगा पीछे उसके ना, Companies Act 2013 again. And specifically for this one, this very news, they had a strategic collaboration with APEDA, APEDA. Mention is this was made possible with the strategic contribution of between APEDA and State Directorate for Horticulture. They will provide technical expertise, financial expertise, getting it, marketing expertise, export related expertise, so that it becomes completely, agriculture and allied sector becomes a lucrative affair. See, I think this Sunday or Monday, there will be Odisha economy material published of this institute. You go through it, you purchase and go through it. It will be a one-stop material for whole Odisha's economy. Anything related to Odisha's economy, that will be very helpful for you. Once they release it, you can get it. Okay. Now about FPO, you know, you can go through it, but this is all you must know regarding the prelims. The next is regarding climate change. Why is it in news? Koraput coffee, it's a brand in itself, you know. Go through the news quickly. Done. कौन है? The coffee is hit by climate change. You tell me what conditions is necessary for the production of coffee? Important factors. Specifically बोलना होगा. No idea. Okay. First the condition तमे जानिबो. If you don't know the condition, how would you know how climate change has affected the production? Am I clear about things? If you don't know the conditions, how would you know that climate change is affecting them? Moreover, one structural problem you must understand with coffee. See, let us say this is the soil profile. See, this is the soil profile. In the soil profile, what happens is, let's say you are planting paddy, cultivating paddy. So when you cultivate paddy, okay, it will have its roots, it will penetrate in the soil. Okay. If the penetration is long enough, it will tap the nutrients from below. अच्छी ना नहीं. In the case of washing it out, कौन है जाऊँची? The nutrients will be tapped out. Nutrients, एडी तो wash out है गला ना nutrients. It will tap from below. This happens with cultivations of paddy and other crops. If you see the cash crops like tea, coffee, तांकर कौन होची? से गच्छ तुमको एतिकी बड़ा दिसिबो, but they have their roots very small. Getting it? So you can go through these concepts and then find out कि climate change आपको केमती affect करिछि. Do something by yourself also. And for a matter, Arabica coffee is famous in where? Koraput. This is the type of coffee which is available in Koraput. Then you can find it out. Climate change ताको केमिति affect करिछि. The next news is about, I think 2 times we have discussed about Ghadial. 2 times. Nahin? Where is India's? This is my question to you because I have discussed it earlier. Why is it in news? Dekho eta. After 40 years interval, this marks 4th consecutive successful natural hatching in this habitat. So first things first, what is the IUCN status? If Ghadial is kept in a captive zone, and yes, I'm coming to it. If it is kept in a captive zone where it is kept for hatcheries, then of course the population is declining rapidly. Thereby, you must understand CR, critically endangered. It is a very long snout. Okay. Where is the first, India's first breeding program of Ghadials done? Very good. Nandankanan Zoological Park. Although river Chambal is very famous for Ghadials, and Bhitarganika you have all the 3 species. Getting it? So Ghadial becomes very important for Bhitarganika National Park because this is critically endangered. Other 2 species are, one of them is endangered, other is least concern, or what? Few facts, I'll ask you more. Saptakosia Gorge, in which district? Onugul, very good. Saptakosia Gorge, is it a wildlife sanctuary or not? It is a wildlife sanctuary. In which year it was established? 1976. Quickly mention it. Is it a tiger reserve? Yes, it is a tiger reserve. Which year it was designated? Year 2007. Is it a Ramsar site? Yes. 2021. Is it a biosphere reserve? Is it a, no, it is not a biosphere reserve. Similipal is a biosphere reserve, isn't it? Now one more question from me. Do you understand what is a gorge? Janicho what is a gorge? First you need to find out what's a gorge. Then you tell me, does a river like Mahanadi, how can it make a gorge in such easy terrain? Indus makes a gorge because the terrain is very difficult, it has a huge potential energy. Why does Mahanadi make a gorge in such easy terrain? Next class answer karo. Okay? There has to be some geological reason behind it. Yes. It has to be a geological reason. Think, find out. If you don't find it out, it will not be built in a muscle memory. You will forget it. The things which is easily provided to you, you will very easily forget it. You work on it, then you can remember it. नेक्स्ट देखो कौन अच्छी स्मार्ट सिस्टम. अरे स्मार्ट is not literal smart. It has an acronym. See, supersonic missile assisted release of torpedo smart system was successfully flight tested from where? It is in which state? Odisha. Formerly known as, this island was formerly known as Wheeler Island. Most of the people forget this Wheeler Island is APJ Abdul Kalam Island, from where missile testing takes place. Okay. Now about the smart system. Okay. Major unique points you understand. It's a lightweight torpedo delivery system. Have you heard the term torpedo? Torpedo सुनिचो? Torpedo कोटू फायर करा जाए underwater, isn't it? But this missile is launched from a ground mobile launcher. This is the peculiarity. बाकी सब तो ठीक अच्छी. And you must understand, if this is a mobile launcher, mobile means easily movable. If this is a mobile launcher, it has to be lightweight. Common sense should prevail. देखो कोई सब्जेक्ट रे कॉमन सेंस वर्क करू ना करू साइंस एंड टेक रे काम करिवो बिकॉज साइंस वर्क्स ऑन लॉजिक. Getting it? So these things you can understand. One thing is Varunastra stands for inaugural indigenous heavyweight ship launched anti-submarine electrical torpedo. So this Varunastra is a key term here. Science and tech पढ़ी समझते ना. Aditya L1 mission. Go through it. What is L1 point? Hello? Okay. You understand what is water purification ATM? There is a provision of water purification. If you go to some centers, if you go to an ATM and swipe your card, then the machine will dispense what? Cash. If there is a water ATM, if you pour in impure water, what it should dispense out? Pure water, for that matter. Who has done it? ArcelorMittal, an industrial giant, as well as Nippon Steel, under what? Its project Trupti has installed community water purification plant where? In Handia village under Nuagadha, Gram Panchayat in Paradip. Paradip is in which district? Paradip is in Paradip district? Okay. Is in Jagatsinghpur. So do you understand why Paradip requires more purified waters? Because it is always engulfed in flood-like situations. Getting it? They need a water purification ATM. It is a state-of-the-art technology. Next, World Turtle Day. Do I need to more emphasize why Turtle Day is more important? At least for our country, it is very important. On 23rd of May, it is celebrated. Why? Why it is celebrated? To understand the need of tortoise and turtle conservation. तेबे तुमको कौन जानिए रही turtle versus tortoise. What is turtle and what is tortoise? Who had founded it? 2000, in the year 2000, American Tortoise Rescue. It's a not-for-profit organization. And of course, in your state, it is very important because it is the nesting site for olive ridley turtles in huge numbers. Again, World TB Day. Is there a plan of India to eliminate TB completely, eradicate TB? By which year? 2000? Okay. And to eliminate anemia? Anemia Mukt Bharat. Why don't you write it down? if you write it down, when you traverse through the pages, at least at that point of time, you will Google it and find it out if you don't know. March 24 becomes the World TB Day. TB is due to what pathogen? Bacteria, virus, fungi, bacteria. What bacteria? Sorry? Who invented it? Robert? Very good. Go through the other details. This was for the month of May, right? Okay. Write a couple of more news which can be asked in the examination. Right? 666. Mane 666. Theme based booths. Theme based booths. Co-booth. Booths to be set up in PVTJ areas in Odisha. So the question can be, here the question can be, where was the theme based booths established in which state? Getting it? So the answer has to be Odisha. You know for who? For PVTGs, because our state is rich with tribals. Around 1/4 of our populations are tribals. Among the 62 tribes present, there are 13 PVTGs. Out of them, almost 6th of them have got habitat rights under FRA. It is not a mean thing, mean achievement. Bujuja. Oh, next. After 5 years, elephant census to be held in Odisha. I beg your pardon. After 7 years. It was last held in 2017. I am just providing you the theme. You find it out if any news is important or not. Okay? Oh. Next, write down Tibetan refugees. Tibetan refugees of Chandragiri are getting scared of losing their refugee status. Do you know in your state there are Tibetan refugees here? You know? Yes, they are. Chandragiri. Chandragiri, where is it? Gajapati district. Write down high-tech tower. High-tech tower to study carbon sequestration in Simlipal. This is kind of a flagship study. First time MTK study H. You can mention first of its kind study. Now you go through it. How is this happening? Then only you can understand the nuances of it. Getting it? Apart from that, there is nothing more left in the month of May. Next session we will be taking up June and July. Okay. This session we have quickly summed it up. Do you now understand the importance of why we took so much time in the earlier classes? Because you must understand the basic concepts. Once you go through the basic concepts, these things will flow like anything. Okay, next time we will be taking again 2 months together. Okay, thank you.